Get ready for the show, it's about to begin. Pro fan talk when we dive right in. Sports talk, hot takes, ain't nothing we lack. We the real fans, nothing holding us back. Mic check, 1, 2, y'all know the drill. We bringing the energy, we keep it real. From touchdowns on the Gridiron to slam dunks on the court. Every sport, every game, we holding down the fort. We breaking down the plays, dissecting the stats. Pro fan talk, we keeping it fat. Debating with passion, no filter, no doubt. We the voice of the fans, we scream and we shout.
There we go. See, I tried to make sure. I tried to make it's the first thing I do. When y'all saw me do like this, first thing I said was, let me make sure I'm not muted. And I still was muted. So I think it was the mic because I got this damn red green thing. But I'm good to go, man. Put a thumbs up. Put a thumbs up. There we go. We good now. We good now. What's going on? Tiffany, thank you again for being first out the limo. I appreciate you. Appreciate you. Carlos, as usual. Appreciate the super chat and the heads up. Afrado, appreciate you. Daniel Berry, appreciate you. Darth Panda in the building. Kareem Ahmed in the building. Dre Day, what's good? Everybody's in the building, man. What's going on? How y'all feeling, man? Are we still in our feelings about Jeff Stoutland? Are we still in? I'm still a little bit in my feelings. I ain't gonna lie. I'm still in my feelings about it. But after a little bit of recollection, after a little bit of breathing and understanding how this business works, remembering how the sausage is made. I've been in this business. I've been around this business. I know friends who are still in the business. The NFL is and has always stood for not for long. There's nothing guaranteed. There's nothing infinite. Your time in this league and around it is finite. That includes everybody, no exceptions. Nobody has immunity. Nobody has immunity. And I think the biggest reason everybody's in their feelings, rightfully so, mind you, the reason why everybody's in their feelings is because, and I've said this ain't nobody else saying it but me. Jeff Stoutland was the best offensive line coach in the NFL. Point, period, end of paragraph, full stop. And you don't just replace that. You don't just bring something else to the table. That's like one of your friends being invited to the cookout and grandmama's cooking, but they want to stop at the store and pick up some potato salad from there. Not a good idea. But what I will say is this. While I do believe wholeheartedly that Jeff Stoutland is the best offensive line coach in the NFL, I wish assistant coaches could go to the Hall of Fame because I think he would be there. But this happens every year. And the only reason we feel some kind of way about it, the only reason I'm in my feelings is because I've said for the past 4 to 5 seasons that whoever they bring in, head coach, assistant coach, run game coordinator, pass game coordinator, whoever, Jeff Stoutland was untouchable because I think he meant that much to the team. But he got touched. Now what? I used to challenge my kids back when I used to do a youth ministry at my church. I used to challenge my kids. They would ask you certain questions. They would, situations. Well, they ain't supposed to do this and they ain't supposed to do that. And I would say, well, they did. Now what? Because it doesn't matter what's supposed to happen. It doesn't matter what should happen. The only thing that matters is what did happen. Now what? Now what are you going to do? Doesn't matter if it's fair, unfair. Doesn't matter if it was theft. Doesn't matter if you were set up. Doesn't matter. You in it. Whether you want to be or not. Now what? So now the Philadelphia Eagles, they're going to have to find themselves a new coordinator. And they've done that. They got some new coaches coming in. They got a new run game coordinator, and then they got a new passing coordinator. And guess what? Guess what team and guess what quarterback is tailor-made for this type of situation? There's only one in the league, Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts has had more offensive coordinators than probably anybody in the history of the NFL. He's had 6 coordinators since he was a pro. We're not even going to get into the 5 years he went to college. This man has had 12 coordinators, 11 or 12 coordinators in his career from college to the pros. That's a new voice in your ear every year. And I don't think most people appreciate how difficult that is. Every year you got somebody new in your ear. Every year you got somebody asking you to do it a different way. Every year you got somebody with a different opinion. You just got used to doing it this way. Now you got to change up every year. And he didn't complain. He just kept balling, kept taking us to the playoffs, kept taking us to Super Bowls, and got us a victory. Got us a chip. And I look at all of those other teams. And all of those big names and popular picks and stereotypes and guys that check all the boxes and all of this and all of that. And how many of those guys got a chip? How many of those guys that checked all the boxes got a chip? Told y'all saw the honors yesterday. Matthew Stafford trots out there, got his cute little girls with him, takes his award. They wanted Matthew Stafford to get to the Super Bowl so bad, it was eating them alive. Now you got Sam Darnold and Drake May. And Drake May has been playing putrid in the playoffs, and Sam Darnold has got new life. But nobody believed in him. Everybody still thinks it's the same Sam Darnold from Tennessee and the Vikings. But isn't it funny how things work out? And this is why I say during the year, don't get so caught up in lists. Don't get so caught up in rankings. Don't get so caught up in who's in the top 5. Don't get so caught up in that word elite. Don't get so caught up in what everybody on the radio thinks they know. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is what happens on Sunday afternoon when them dudes step on that field. Who is the best on this day? That is the only thing that matters. They kept telling me that Jalen Hurts was limited. They kept telling me he couldn't throw the ball. They kept telling me he was your traditional dual threat quarterback. Remember back in the day when dual threat was just code words that they wanted to use in the NFL for people saying, hey, he's a black quarterback and he can't throw the ball well. I remember how they treated Cordell Stewart. I remember what they thought Russell Wilson was going to be when he first got the gig. They tried everything. A lot of people don't remember this. They tried everything in their power to not let Russ Wilson be the man. And it got to the point where he was so good they couldn't deny him. And what did he do? Took him to the chip. Took him to the chip. And I've told this story before. When I was in Canada in the CFL, I played against Doug Flutie. Doug Flutie got all them same traits. Wasn't a very big guy. Doug Flutie was 5'10" with studs on. But damn it, if that dude didn't find a way to win, and they did not want him to start, Buffalo gave him a shot, but didn't really give him a shot. Let me tell you about Doug Flutie. In Buffalo, Buffalo did to Doug Flutie what Cleveland was trying to do to Shador. That's what they were trying to. They didn't want to play him. Every excuse in the world. But when a person that's destined to do something finally gets their opportunity, they make the most of it. They make the most of it. Listen, Kev, Randall, everybody remembers what Randall did with the Eagles. Randall did some incredible stuff. Randall was my quarterback. Shout out to Randall Cunningham. Shout out to RC, man. RC hosted me as a rookie. I'm from Ohio. During the holidays, Thanksgiving and Christmas, I was at Randall's house. I don't even know if he would remember that. But vets always took rookies in if they was away from home, didn't have, I was by myself, all of that type of stuff. And I had Thanksgiving and Christmas at Randall's house. So I got love for RC always. But think about what Randall did when he got to Minnesota as opposed to what he did all of them years in Philly. Finally got with the right team. He had 2 all-pro wide receivers. He had a young rookie, Randy Moss, who was just absolutely incredible. Then he had Chris Carter. And the only reason he didn't go to the Super Bowl was because the stupid kicker. But my point being, when the right person gets with the right team and the right coaches, amazing things can happen. And I don't care what anybody says. I don't care. And everybody's ripping them this week. I heard what Rhea said. I heard what everybody on WIP said. And they ripping Sirianni a new one. But guess what? Sirianni got the chip. And he did it the way he needed to do it. And that's the way it had to be done. So I always have to be careful to not just jump in that pool with everybody trying to rip on Sirianni, everybody trying to rip on AJ, and all of that kind of stuff. Sometimes you got to take a pause and take a step back, and you got to see the forest for the trees. Sometimes you got to get back, and you got to step back, and you got to really look at the landscape of what you're about to step into and see how things are getting done. And it's like, we can't complain too much. We can't complain too much. Because I guarantee you, all Clint Kubiak just got hired, right? Dayball's going somewhere. McDaniel went there. Everybody's going everywhere, wherever they want to be, right? Everybody's going to where they want to be. But next year, we're going to see how all of that works out. Because here's my thoughts on it. Here's my thoughts on it. Because, again, regardless if you love him or hate him, Sirianni's been to the mountaintop twice and came away with the prize. He found a treasure chest. He came away with the prize. So anybody else getting these big-time jobs, if they don't come away with the prize, it didn't work. It wasn't worth it. It was a failure. And that's where people have to come to grips with. Because I think the low-hanging fruit is everybody wants to be mad at Sirianni. Everybody wants to be mad at Sirianni. How many times have we had this conversation? If you watched me and Tone on the Bald Eagles podcast, how many times have me and Tone talked about that? Where I told Tone, I said, I never thought, nobody had it on their bingo card, that we would be having a Jeff Stoutland problem this year. Because our offensive line couldn't run block worth a shit all year. And I know apparently the run game coordination got changed up a little bit, but there's still some prerequisites, and your guys wasn't getting stuff done. Is that on Jeff Stoutland? That's his domain. So I don't care how much, I don't know. Maybe it was. Maybe that's the reason he leaving. Maybe Sirianni and Patullo just overrode anything that he was saying to the point where he was like, all right, y'all got it. Because I've been in them situations before where you're trying to tell somebody something like, listen, I do this. But if you think you know more than me, you go ahead, you got it. I'll fall back and play soldier. So I've been in them situations before. And if it's that frustrating, here's what I'll say. Here's what I can say from my experience and relating to Stoutland. And I'm just guessing why Stoutland would do that. Whenever you are doing a thing, if you are not enjoying it anymore, it is time to walk away. Period. And I say that my last year playing professional football when I was in Canada, and the way that situation ended and the domino effect of things that happened because of the way it happened. At the end of the day, when all of that stuff was done, I wasn't enjoying playing football anymore. And I chose to walk away. I knew I had my degree. I knew what I could do. And I was like, well, maybe it's time to start pounding the pavement. Get a job in my field and all of that type of stuff. Those were the questions I had to go on. And I remember having a conversation with my wife, and my wife told me, if you ain't done with it, don't walk away. If you still want to play, continue to play. But when you get to a situation when the thing that you have done most of your life, if you're not enjoying it, walk away. And that's what I did. And I think that that's what Stout did. I think whatever happened, however he got demoted, I don't know if he was just in his feelings, feeling some kind of way, because they took the power away from him. If he thought he was right, whatever the situation is, he wasn't enjoying it, so he chose to walk away. But in any situation, that could always happen. We got too comfortable. We got way too comfortable. Way too comfortable to think that something like that could never happen. Philadelphia should know by now with what happened with Doug Peterson. Now, Doug Peterson, people tend to forget the situation. But look what they did to Doug Peterson after winning them a Super Bowl. They fired Doug Peterson 3 years after that Super Bowl. It was 3 seasons later. And there was a whole bunch of other stuff that was going on that didn't have nothing to do with the Super Bowl. But everybody wanted to pin that moment. I mean, rightfully so. It was the franchise's first. So I get it. But that's 3 years later. So it wasn't like immediately after they won the Super Bowl, they got rid of Doug Peterson. No, it was a lot of things that happened in the meantime to get to that point. And the same thing probably happened with Doug Peterson. I'm sorry, between Jeff Stoutland and Sirianni and Patullo and that whole situation. There are a lot of things that happen. You think Jeff Stoutland hasn't been in situations like this before? As long as he's been in the league, he's probably done seen everything. And what do I always say? Everybody get a turn, even the best. Even the best. If Sean McDermott can get fired, what do you think? Jeff Stoutland is not exempt. Now, by me saying that, that does not mean I believe he was in the wrong. But what I do believe is nobody is on the island. Nobody. There's been Hall of Fame coaches that lost their jobs. Go back and look at the YouTube history and watch them press conferences when Bill Parcells walked away from Dallas. And Bill Parcells everybody knew he was already a Hall of Fame coach. But everybody gets a turn. Nobody's exempt. One of the best to ever do it, Jimmy Johnson. Same place, same thing happened. Jimmy Johnson had brought Dallas already 2 Super Bowls. And Jerry Jones fired him. Nobody's exempt. Y'all, a lot of y'all are too young to remember when the San Francisco 49ers traded Joe Montana to the Kansas City Chiefs. And at that time in his career, people looked at Joe Montana like today's era looked at Tom Brady. Let me say it like this. Today's generation looks at Patrick Mahomes the way 10 years ago everybody was looking at Tom Brady. Tom Brady was considered the GOAT. Joe Montana was considered the GOAT. 4 Super Bowls. Hard to beat. Him and Jerry Rice, one of the best duos to ever do it. Roger Craig, one of the running backs, just getting inducted into the Hall of Fame. That was the squad of the 80s. The San Francisco 49ers. They came and beat my Bengals, and I believe in 1988. Last second touchdown. Beat my Bengals. We should have won the Super Bowl that year. We should have been doing the Icky Shuffle all year. But freaking Joe Montana, man. Joe Montana. We had a squad that year too. But Joe was the GOAT. Joe was the GOAT. Nobody's exempt. And then they got rid of him. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I should go back and do homework, but I don't feel like doing it right now. If I'm not mistaken, I think Montana got hurt. I forget what year this was after that last Super Bowl. I think Montana got hurt, and then that's when Steve Young came in, and Steve Young started lighting it up. And then San Francisco made a decision. And they stuck with Steve Young and let Joe Montana go. And that's when Joe Montana went to Kansas City. And I believe, I want to say that's when him and Marcus Allen got together, I think. So get the guy in there and have success. Yep. Rob, 100%, bro. Whoever's up next, all they got to do is win. And we ain't going to think about Jeff Stoutland. We're not going to think about Jeff Stoutland. If they winning, now we might complain a little bit if the run game is still struggling or whatever, but at the end of the day, if we still clocking wins, the people ain't going to be in their feelings as much. They're going to worry about what we got to do to get to the next level. And guess what? For everything that I've heard, this dude, Sean Mannion, he ain't no dummy. He ain't no dummy. Maybe, because once again, we've all been in this situation. Maybe you get some young buck coming with these new ways and these new techniques, and the old school ain't ready for it. It's almost like I know how I am because I'm proficient with the technology and things of that nature. How I try to talk to people who don't understand AI. I do. I use it. I have to work with it. So I have to master it and become proficient at it. A lot of the OGs don't deal with it. They laugh at it because you can make a picture of your grandson dancing, but they don't understand the power of it. And I'll do it my way. Okay. Learn how to use it or it'll overtake you and you'll be lost. You'll be dependent upon somebody else to figure things out. That's where we're headed towards anyways. But my point being, maybe it was a situation where Stoutland just didn't want to acquiesce to a new style of doing things, a new way of doing things. He done did everything else. He don't want to. And he has the right to say, I don't want to do that. I don't want to have to learn a new system because my system has been working. My system has got to 3 Super Bowls, and I got 2 chips to show you. My system works. So if he doesn't want to learn a new system because he knows my system works, his system has been getting it done. I don't blame him. I can't get mad at him for that. He ain't got time for that. If he don't want to, he don't have to. So we'll see. We are going to see what's going to happen next year. And the same rules apply. Remember, we was talking all that stuff about whoever we get at offensive coordinator, we're not going to find out if it's a win or a lose until week 6 or 7 next year. In 2026. We won't know if we got a good thing or a bad thing, hell, until October. So it's going to be the same thing with whoever they bring in for the offensive line. You know what? You getting paid to be a professional. And the only reason everybody's in their feelings, rightfully so, the only reason everybody's in their feelings is because everybody liked Stoutland so much. He was a staple on that team. He had been through 3 coaches. He was the staple. But things do change. Things do change. This is part of being a professional. This is the bad part that people don't see. But you gotta, Jordan Mailata, you gotta deal with it. Because guess what? Your check gonna cash whether Stoutland is the coach or not. So you still have expectations. Landon Dickerson talking about retiring because he wasn't healthy this year. He said it himself. He felt like shit all year. I know. It was easy to tell. Don't know what you were going through, but clearly you were not 100%. And it cost us. It was to our detriment. Now, what I will say is, Jeff Stoutland, Coach Stout, did you not know that Dickerson was not 100%? Did we not have a backup for him at left guard? Whoever it is, if you don't put Brett Toth is, whoever you was going to put in there had to be better than what we were getting. Cam Jurgens was not up to snuff. Did we not know that he was hurt? Could we not put Brett Toth back at center like we did against New York? That is where I'm looking at Jeff Stoutland like, whose fault is that? You're supposed to be able to see all of that. And I know sometimes 85% of a starter is better than 100% of a backup. I don't think we got that this year. I don't think we got that. Not even close. I would have rather had Brett Toth starting at center than some of the stuff that Cam Jurgens was giving us. And don't get it twisted. I am a fan of Cam Jurgens. I knew Jason Kelsey knocked it out of the park when he picked him. And the first year Cam Jurgens started, you never. The first year he started, you never heard his name. That means he was doing his job. He wasn't getting penalties. he was good to go. And we didn't miss Jason Kelce at all. So I knew he knocked it out of the park. So we good with change. But guess what? You can't tell me that I know Jeff Stoutland was watching film. Getting the block is getting the block. That ain't got nothing to do with how you take your steps, the techniques you use. That's on Stoutland. And some of the stuff that we were seeing on film was like, bruh, what are we doing? What are we doing? Never thought the problem would be coming from Stoutland University. Never thought that would happen. But it was. Regardless about the demotion, all of that type of stuff, you can still go back and look at some things that happened on film and then go like, Coach, really? Film don't lie. Now, if we try to put our feelings to the side and you look at some of the tape we were getting from the offensive line, from a technique standpoint, it was trash. Some of it was trash. We got by a lot of those games. And if we could have run blocked just to an average level, just been adequate, we didn't have to be good. We just had to be adequate. And we couldn't even do that. Our run blocking this year was like our tackling was in 23. Our run blocking in 25 was like our tackling was in 23. Trash. And it cost us. Cost us in the first round of the playoffs. And it cost us in the first round of the playoffs. And it was quite obvious what the problem was. And everybody wants that low-hanging fruit. It's A.J. Brown's fault. He's a malcontent. He's tweeting too much. Jalen can't throw across the middle. Saquon lost the step. Get out of here with that. Miss me with that nonsense. Ain't nothing wrong with Saquon. If we would have had adequate blocking, Saquon would have had 1,500 yards this year. I believe that. Saquon can get 1,200 to 1,500 yards on his worst day. But for whatever reason, we could not block inside the tackles. We were struggling. We was on the struggle bus for that. Don't know why. I don't know what they was planning in meetings. I don't know what they were going over in practice, but it just was not working. And it wasn't until Tank Bigsby got in there and let everybody know, like, yo, we got to bounce this shit outside every time. Go back and look at them big runs from Saquon. Now, you know what? That might be a good video topic. All the splash plays for Saquon Barkley. And out of all of the 20-plus yard runs that he had this year, and it wasn't that many, how many of them did he hit the hole, and how many of them did he have to bounce outside? We already know what the situation was with Tank Bigsby. At least Tank Bigsby committed to it. But even Saquon was dodging bullets just to get back to the line of scrimmage, man. Oof. So, Miss Ablin, I don't, who's that? No. My bad. 24 birds. I don't know. I disagree with that. Because there was a lot of other people that put 8 men in the box for Saquon, and it didn't work. And once again, you got to pick your poison. They put 8 men in the box in the Super Bowl, and guess what happened? Devontae burned them, AJ burned them. So that's you can do that. That's the sacrifice. That's the pawn piece on the chessboard. You got to sacrifice him. You know he's gonna get taken. Or they got to go in a different direction. That was the benefit, and this kind of leads into my or one of my points about not getting rid of AJ Brown. You got a 3-headed monster on the offense, and that's not counting Jalen Hurts or Dallas Goedert. You got to deal with AJ, you got to deal with Devontae, and you got to deal with Saquon. Pick your poison. You can't get all three. And that's what happened. They watched everything all year, And they got on that bandwagon like, hey, if we can stop Saquon, they not going to win. And guess what? Jalen Hurts ate their lunch. Jalen Hurts looked over to Jahan Dotson. Then he looked over to AJ and mute again. My bad. Whoever they get to replace AJ, if they get rid of, is that person, is that wide receiver gonna find gonna is that wide receiver going to require a game plan? And what I mean by that is when you go into prepping for an opponent, when you get ready to play an opponent, when you get ready to play the Kansas City Chiefs, if you're on defense, who do you game plan? Travis Kelce? Thank you. If you go into a game and you play in the LA Rams, who do you game plan? Puka Nacua? Thank you. If you go into a game plan and you play in the Philadelphia Eagles, who do you game plan? AJ Brown? Well, wait a minute. Devontae Smith, because damn. Saquon Barkley? Damn, but Jalen Hurts, so we got to have a spot. Dallas Goedert, if he goes across the middle, he's dead. Like, you see what I'm saying? Technically, we got 5 weapons on offense. You got to pick one, but you can't cover everybody. And now we might lose AJ. We might lose Goddard. I ain't even got into the offensive line and Dickerson retiring and Lane Johnson possibly retiring. We ain't even talked about that, Jay, but we'll get there. Wow, do y'all see that? That's how sensitive this microphone is. This microphone is touch sensitive, right? You can't see it, but there's a green bar that lets me know it's pulsating to the inflection of my voice, right? It's got the like built-in meter, so it looks like a Knight Rider when I talk, right? But if I touch it, that's what's making my microphone go mute. And sometimes if I just glance, so if I just touch it, it goes mute. Now I know. I don't know why it's doing that. Hold on. Interesting. Does it sound any different that I have the foam off? I took the foam off of it. So, but now if I touch it, it doesn't mute by itself. But if I put the foam on it, that's crazy. It's the foam doing it. I don't understand that. It's interesting. I can't turn it around because this is screwed. So I got there we go. Everything shut down. So now this might kind of get in the way if I move my hands. So I don't like to have this back here. But now, like you can see it, you can see my mic moving. But watch this. Now we live again. But yeah, I can't do this. All right. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna leave this off. Now my plosions might be a little bit crazy, but we'll see. If this sounds crazy, let me know and I'll put the my phone back on there. Technology, man. So Jalen gonna make a lot of people eat their words. I hope you're right, man. I hope you're right. But if anybody's ready for another coaching change, it's Jalen Hurts. He knows how to get it done. He knows how to get it done. And like I've said before, I think Mannion and Jalen Hurts might be the pair that we're looking for. But it's like, are we just running in place? Because I personally think we got a good offensive coordinator, but then we lose Jeff Stoutland. And then we lose the DB coach to Dallas. So, we get something here, then we lose something here. So we kind of in the same place. So you said my mic gonna quit like Stoutland. Oh, you wrong for that. You wrong for that, man. So yeah, the offensive line did have a lot of injuries and it was bad. But I guess my thing is that's part of the game. Every team has injuries. Every team has to go through it. Which ones can come through on the other side? Dickerson, remember, Dickerson got hurt in camp. And the next day he was back in practice with a keg of beer, passing out beers at practice. Like, hey, it's all good. And I was like, sometimes coming back too soon is not good. You 27 talking about retiring, bro. Is the game spitting you out like that? Y'all heard me say that before. Do you walk away from the game or does the game spit you out? And for him to even bring up that conversation, for him to even breach that subject, that means that is on his mind and it's some serious business. And he was hurting during the year. For you to you just signed a contract not too long ago. I saw the video. You bought the new 0 point lawnmower and all of that type of stuff. Spent 15 grand on a new lawnmower when you signed your contract. Go ahead and do your thing, bro. I ain't mad at you. But for you to be a couple years after that contract and you already talking about retirement because you felt like crap this year because you couldn't get right, that's telling me something right there. Ain't nobody suggest that. He said that himself. He said that himself. So that lets me know it was serious. That lets me know it was something going wrong. And again, I go back to Stoutland. If you knew they were struggling like that physically, we couldn't go with a backup to start? Like, really? That's one of them things. What kind of question, Stoutland? Like, can you do like this is where your expertise comes in. If you can't play, you can't play. I know you're trying to grind it out. I know you're trying to be tough and be a warrior and all of that kind of stuff. But if it's to our detriment, then you got to put them backups in and let them take their lumps because we can't do any worse. If they're gonna give up some bad plays, they got to have some good ones. Unless it's a situation where the backups just wasn't ready to play. And then again, I'm looking at Coach Stoutland like, how come the backups aren't ready to play? So, and again, I'm saying that, and I'm in my feelings about Jeff Stoutland. That don't change. I think Jeff Stoutland, again, I wish he could go in the Hall of Fame. He deserves it. But if I can hear all of this noise about people questioning what Sirianni actually does and all of that type of stuff, if we can question Sirianni and question Patullo and question Brian Johnson and question anybody else that we've hired and ended up getting rid of, we can question Jeff Stoutland. Because you can always argue the truth. Because it'll always come back the truth. So we'll figure out what happened. Somebody will tell a story a little bit later, and we'll figure it out. And if it is Nick Sirianni, it'll play itself out one way or the other. It'll play itself out. So, yeah, Panda. After seeing the second New York Giants game was the best running game that we had all year, and Brett Toth was at center. So my thing is like, okay, I can't remember, was he at center or was he at guard? I think he was at center that game. So I'm like, leave him at center. Leave him at center. If we was getting it done with Toth at center, keep his ass at center, because Cam Jurgens, for whatever reason, wasn't getting it done. I have to believe that he was hurt, because Cam Jurgens ain't no scrub. He had a bad year. Once again, everybody get a turn. He had a bad year, but Cam Jurgens is far from a scrub. No, he should not have been voted to the Pro Bowl. But Cam Jurgens is not a scrub. Clearly, he was going through some stuff. But Cam Jurgens is not a scrub. But this year, he wasn't getting it done. Lil Griffith, I keep getting your messages, bro. Eagles keep A.J. Brown. I hope so. I hope you're right. I hope you're right. We are better as an offense with A.J. Brown. And I think Mannion can do a lot of things with A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts. So I want to see A.J. stick around to see what the new regime is going to look like. That's what I'm hoping. Because guess what? If he is as smart as everybody is saying he is, what is he going to do with A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith and Saquon Barkley? I don't know what's going to happen with Goddard. I'm hoping we can get a nice run blocking tight end. Because as much as I love Goddard, our tight ends and run blockings, they're not friends at all. Is that game was at left guard? Okay, so that's the first Giants game. What about the second Giants game? Second Giants game was when we, I think we had 250 yards rushing or something like that. We had a good game on the ground, that second Giants game. That's why I remember that. Oh, yeah, I was just saying. I know it's a popularity contest. That's the only reason why Cam Jurgens got voted to the Pro Bowl. Because if you watch the tape, you know better. So I don't think AJ is going to – I don't think it's that – everybody seems to think that it's a done deal. And I'm like, I keep trying to tell people, man, listen, Adam Schefter, Ian Rappaport, Tom Pelissero, they don't know nothing. They don't know anything. They don't know anything unless the Eagles call them and they decide to leak the information. How do you think they get that information? How do you think they break them stories? They're not clairvoyant. That is controlled information leak. It's not that hard to figure out. They don't know any more or less than we do. They guessing like we are. I heard Adam Schefter on 97.5 the other day, and I forget what show he was on, but man, they were reaching so hard to try to get him to say something off the wall and salacious. And he wasn't budging. He was like, I don't know. Like, what do you want me to tell you? I don't know. I can tell you what I think, but I don't know. And they just kept on pushing him. They just kept on pushing him. And he finally said it. He was like, I know y'all want me to come up and you want me to say or come up with a story. And finally they was like, yes, that's what we want. That's what we want to talk about. And he's like, I ain't got nothing for you because I don't know nothing. They get controlled information. Don't get it twisted. And that's why I say all the time, do your homework. Watch film. Do your homework. When you see stuff that comes out on social media, do your best to vet that information. Make sure it's legit. Because these dudes, they don't know more than we do. The only difference is their microphone is just a little bit louder. That's it. If Adam Schefter can tell you what he thinks on Pat McAfee, there's going to be more people to hear it. Doesn't make him right. Doesn't make Cowherd right. Doesn't make Stephen A. right. They guessing like everybody else. I think there's a good chance that Goddard might get the hometown discount because Lane Johnson and Dickerson, these last couple years been hurt a lot. Now, Lane Johnson, he was hurt a little bit last year, but this year he missed 7 games, so that was rough. Dickerson been like this through college, though. He was the same way in college, and it's catching up with him. It's catching up with him. So am I happy that Jeff Stoutland is gone? No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm still in my feelings about that. But realistically, whoever is replacing him is not going to be the immediate best offensive line coach in the NFL. It doesn't mean that they're not going to be good. You ain't got to be Jeff Stoutland good. That takes time. That takes a lot of years coaching. So, no, I'm not expecting somebody to come in and be Jeff Stoutland good. He don't have to be. He doesn't have to be. All we got to do is get our offense back to averaging 100 yards rushing a game. That's what we got to get back to. We got to get back to getting Saquon 75 and 85 yards a game, at least. That's what we got to get back to. So a lot of stuff that Jeff Stoutland teaches is not rocket science. He's teaching the same thing a lot of other coaches teach. But like I said before, Jeff Stoutland is a teacher. Think back when you was in high school, think back your professors in college. There's some teachers and professors that you loved because for whatever reason, when you were in their class, you got it. It clicked. You always got an A or B in that class because you like the teacher, you like being in there. You didn't have problems with the work. You could figure it out because they could teach you in a way where you could learn. That's what Stoutland's superpower is. And I'm not saying that whoever's going to take his place can't do that. Of course they can, or they wouldn't be in the NFL. So we don't need somebody to be a super coach. We just need to be a good one. We just need to be an adequate coach because an adequate coach can tell you how to do the right things. And if the guys on the field execute, if we don't have player execution failure, we'll be fine. We'll be fine. So I don't. Yes, Saquon got 1,000 yards. Yes, he did. As bad as our run blocking was this year, he still got 1,000 yards. As bad as everybody says AJ Brown was, he still got 1,000 yards. So just imagine if we was blocking at a decent clip. Just imagine that. Now, granted, 1,000 yards is not what it used to be, especially when we played 17 damn games. So, yes, the new run game coordinator is also the tight end coach. But let's hope we get some tight ends because I like Dallas, but we got to get somebody else in here that can block. Are they going to stick with Latu? I don't know what they're going to do with that. If they're going to stick with Latu, teach Latu how to catch so he can be a dual threat. So that way, every time we bring Latu in the game, you're just not going to automatically pin your ears back because you know it's going to be a run. We got to make him versatile. If Latu going to play the position, if he's going to be the hybrid fullback / slot / tight end, Y back, then teach him how to catch so we can put him out in the backfield and make him a weapon. Or at least use him as a decoy. Again, we don't have to have a great offensive coordinator. We just need to have somebody adequate. And we can't be bipolar again. We can't have a good first half and horrible the second half, or a horrible first half and great in the second half. We've got to have consistency. We got to have consistency. I hope so. We got to get somebody that's better on the line. We have to. And I know how he knows that. I know he knows that. So his season is about to come. Well, he got to figure out what it is that he wants to do, and we have to pinpoint what is our goal in the 2026 NFL draft. What are we looking for? What is the priority for the Philadelphia Eagles? Tight end. In order of importance, I would say cornerback 2 first, offensive lineman, tight ends. And then you can interchange offensive line and tight ends. Because I think we need I would have to go offensive lineman first before tight ends, because you can get good tight ends in the 3rd and 4th round. So, and maybe I'm certain he gonna wheel and deal, and we gonna get some picks we weren't expecting, because that's how he does. That's how he does. So, I saw Baldy talking, but I didn't. I was watching something else, so I didn't hear the whole thing. I heard his comments about Stoutland, but I did not hear about Lane Johnson. I know he's contemplating, because Lane Johnson ain't been healthy. Heck, when he has been healthy, he's always missing a couple games because of his hamstring. Now he got the Liz Frank. So I don't know what he's going to do. I believe he said he's coming back because he wanted to give the new guys a chance. So I'm hoping I read that right. So we'll see. What's up, Marquez? Marquez Dunn says Nick has to go. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. Everybody's still in their feelings because of Stoutland. But now, if the offense looks horrible and the offensive line looks horrible, then Nick will be gone after next year. Rest assured. Because I think he done put himself on the hot seat with the whole Patullo firing, because that's his boy that he vouched for, and it didn't work. It was good until it wasn't. So I don't necessarily think that Nick has to go, because this is the same Nick that took us to the Super Bowl. Don't get that twisted. You got to give him credit for that. You have to. Because if we go through trouble when you was quick to want him fired after 23, that means you got to give him credit for 24. You can't have selective amnesia. It's got to be all or nothing. You got to take the good with the bad. And guess what? When you can see the forest instead of being caught in the trees, when you can see the macro, see the whole thing, and you realize every year he's been a coach, he's been to the playoffs, what you gonna say? When he gets the opportunity, it's not his fault he had a good team. It's not his fault he had the best running back in the league. It's not his fault Jalen Hurts outplayed Patrick Mahomes in the biggest game. Or is it? He got to take some credit for that. Because if we were sucking, he would be the first one you would want gone. So you got to take the good with the bad. People want to forget that. People want to be silent when we running off a good win streak. People say that all the time, Marquez. What does Nick do well? Listen, I will say this. I've said it before. People don't want to give credence to it, but it is what it is. You do not have to be a phenomenal play caller or anything like that to be a good head coach. And I'll tell this story again. Marquez, maybe you haven't heard it before. I was one of those ones that I thought Nick was going to get fired after the 2023 loss to Tampa Bay in Tampa Bay. Because I've been saying all week, Todd Bowles is going to blitz. We got to have something ready for the blitz. And if we are not prepared for the blitz, then yes, Nick Sirianni needs to be fired, because everybody and their mama knew that Foles was going to blitz. And we looked like he wasn't ready for it. So, yes, I thought maybe if he does get fired, I'll understand. But then Fletcher Cox announced his retirement. And he addressed the team after that game. And what he said after that game changed my mind. And what he did was he went to bat for Nick Sirianni. He co-signed for Nick Sirianni. in his farewell speech to the team. And the reason why that is important is because he did not have to do that. He didn't. That was his moment. That was his time to address the team. Nick Sirianni shouldn't have been involved in the conversation. He wanted to do that. And what that tells me is he, Fletcher Cox, future Hall of Famer, Eagles Hall of Famer, one of the best defensive tackles we've ever had, he was vouching for Nick Sirianni. And when I heard that for myself, I said, maybe I got this dude wrong. There is merit to being able to have everybody on your team facing in the same direction. It is so very difficult to do that. When things don't go your way, it's easy for stuff to tear apart. But you see how Jalen Hurts handled it. You see how all of that stuff that they talk about, but they ripping Nick Sirianni every chance they get. And the only thing he does is manage to figure out a way to keep getting to the playoffs every year he's been a head coach. So I know people don't like him, but you got to take the good with the bad. You have to. So I know people are mad because he demoted Jeff Stoutland. I know people are mad that he was dealing with Stoutland before he dealt with Patullo. I know people are mad about that, rightfully so. But you know what? How many people would love to say, I would love to have Harbaugh here. I would love to have McDermott here. Because all things being equal, if you were to compare the two coaches, Harbaugh would win every time. McDermott would win every time. Would you rather have McDermott or Nick Sirianni? Well, give me McDermott. Would you rather have Harbaugh or Nick Sirianni? Well, give me Harbaugh, no question. Or put any coach in there. But you know what them coaches ain't got? A chip. Harbaugh had Lamar Jackson, 3-time MVP. And yes, I said 3 because Josh Allen shouldn't have won it. Lamar Jackson was a 3-time MVP, 2 official. And he still couldn't win it with Lamar. Like, what do you want? It's a shame that, I mean, it's not a shame, but because I think that's what fandom is these days. But people have selective amnesia. They want to get mad at what they want to get mad at when they want to get mad at it. But I don't know. I don't know what to say. Marquez, yes, a lot of people think that it was disrespectful, but that shit happens every year on every team, and it doesn't get this much attention. Look at what just happened in Cleveland. Schwartz walked away. He said, "Screw y'all. Y'all had me thinking I was going to be the head coach, and then you go in a different direction after you told me what you told me." That's basically what happened to Schwartz. So he was like, I'm deucing out. Peace. I resign. And you know what he gonna do? He gonna sit back. He gonna get on a couple of shows, ESPN shows, and then hopefully he might find his way here next year when Vic Fangio finally retires. Wouldn't that be lovely? But sometimes it goes like that, man. I don't disagree with you. It's disrespectful, all of that type of stuff. This shit happens every year. There's somebody that gets disrespected. There's somebody that gets left over. There's somebody that should have got hired but didn't. There's somebody that did get hired that shouldn't have. All of that type of stuff, man. All the time. And what do I always say? And I will say it again. Everybody gets a turn, even Jeff Stoutland. He is not exempt. You don't have to rock with Nick. The die's already been cast, bro. That's what people hate. They don't like Nick Sirianni, but they can't deny the ring. He went to the Super Bowl twice. Y'all know what people are doing? They trying to treat Nick Sirianni like. Thank you for the super chat, Uncle Rusty. They trying to treat Nick Sirianni like they tried to treat Brian the coach for the Cowboys that went to the Super Bowl, Barry Switzer. When they fired Jimmy Johnson, Barry Switzer took over, and the second year Barry Switzer was coach, he went back to the Super Bowl. And everybody said, well, he could have won the Super Bowl with that team. Try it. Y'all think winning the Super Bowls is just that easy, huh? Try it. And you can't do that. That's why I'm saying I'm calling it selective amnesia. I'm not going to, you can hate him and you can not like his style and all of that type of stuff. But you know what? People will swear up and down Chip Kelly was a better coach than Nick Sirianni. Chip Kelly ain't never win nothing. Chip Kelly couldn't keep a team together. It's dudes right to this day. They still talk about Shady McCoy and I know Shady McCoy's been, and it's been others. They can't wait to talk about how much they hated Chip Kelly. Breaking up the team, him and D Jackson, but that's it. Deshaun Jackson and Shady McCoy. Every chance they get to rip Chip Kelly, they'll take it. So you can't tell me just being able to keep the team on the same page and everybody happy and content in that locker room is not a skill, because everybody can't do it. Everybody can't do it. Sean McDermott was a great coach. How come he couldn't get Keon Coleman to come to practice on time? Was that his fault? He the coach. So I'm not going, you can criticize Nick Sirianni because he's got enough under his belt that's worthy of the criticism, but he has to get the praise too. You have to do it. Two things can be true at the same time. And a lot of people want to push that under the rug. A lot of people want to push that under the rug. Do you think Chip Kelly spoiled the Eagles from having a coach that's upper echelon versus having a CEO coach like Nick? I don't think it's about being spoiled. I think it's about being able to do the job. In my opinion, Chip Kelly made it personal when he started getting rid of the good players that we needed. When they were still in their prime and still balling. You got rid of D Jackson, you got rid of Shady McCoy. Two of the best in the business at their position. And because you didn't like them, you got rid of them. What does that tell me? That tells me that you're not good enough to understand the guys that are at the best at their position was on your team. And you made it personal. And it to the team's detriment. Nick Sirianni's been an open book, whether you like him or not. Whether you say he don't know what he's doing, all of that kind of stuff. He must have known something because he's been to a Super Bowl twice. You want to call the first time lucky? Go ahead. Okay. It was lucky. We made the Super Bowl with Miles Sanders. Right? You don't luck up to the Super Bowl twice and win one. So I don't care about the criticism. Like I said, the criticism is warranted, but you got to bring the praise too. Can't have one without the other. Uncle Rusty, the Chip Kelly thing is, I don't think Chip Kelly, and here's the other thing. I guess this is the best way to put it. Chip Kelly was not a player's coach. Chip Kelly was not a player's coach. Nick Sirianni is. Nick Sirianni, there are people in that locker room that will run through the wall for Nick Sirianni, whether you believe it or not. There are some people that look at Nick Sirianni like that offensive line looks at Jeff Stoutland. Guarantee you. So he has got that skill. I know where he comes from. He comes from a small school in Ohio. His family is a football family in Ohio. I know he went to a small school, but he went to a small school that wins championships. And if you know how to win, you know how to win. It doesn't matter what level you at. Again, there's plenty of big name coaches, big name players that have never won anything. I'm lucky. I didn't win the Super Bowl, but I won in high school and I won in the pros. We won a state championship when I was in high school. Shout out to Cincinnati, Ohio, Princeton High School, class of 88. We were the 1987 state champions in Ohio, and we were ranked 17th by USA Today as the 17th best team in the country. I won conference titles, never won the big title. We made it to the Final Four my senior year, and we lost to Marshall. But when I got to the pros, of course, we didn't win nothing when I was with the Eagles. That was in the 90s. And then when I got to the World League and I was in Scotland, that second year in Scotland, we won the World Bowl. A chip is a chip. My best friend, Ron Carpenter, played for the Rams, the greatest show on turf. He got a Super Bowl ring. A chip is a chip. I would love to have won a Super Bowl. But I got 2 chips. Some people ain't got none. Some people ain't never been on a winning team. The reason why I'm rooting for Seattle, because I want to see DeMarcus Lawrence win a Super Bowl, not with the Cowboys. That's what I want to see. I want to see him win something, not with the Cowboys. Milt Williams done been there. I wouldn't mind seeing Milt Williams win again because I like Milt Williams. Milt Williams is what everybody wants to be. He waited till his opportunity came with the Eagles and he balled out. And because he balled out, he got his bag. And when he got his bag, that team is back in the Super Bowl. So he's got a chance to get his bag and go back to back. That's what every player wants. But it started here. So I love Milt Williams. I just don't see Drake May outplaying Sam Darnold in the Super Bowl. Drake May has been horrible in the playoffs. Sam Darnold has been great in the playoffs. So I'm thinking Sam Darnold is going to take this. But that's why they play the game. I don't know. That's why they play the game. AJ did a podcast with Gronk. Get the popcorn ready. Oh, for real? Oh, give me a date. Give me some links. Put some links in the chat. I definitely want to see that. I definitely want to see that. Exactly. TDK, bro. Say it again, but say it louder, please. There's no way an NFL coach appeared in 2 Super Bowls, won one of them. Mind you, in the first one was 35 seconds from winning that one too. And had nothing to do with it. It doesn't work that way. Absolutely right. I don't care if you criticize, but you got to give them the praise too. Keep it 100. Keep it 100. That's why I'm so against people that's like, oh, we got to get rid of A.J. Brown. For what? Because he had a bad game in the playoffs? If you want to compare his good versus his bad, you really want to do that? Because guess what's going to outweigh the other? And y'all want to get rid of him because you don't like what he tweeted? Come on, man. I thought Philly had some thicker skin than that. Come on now. Everybody's going to have a bad game. Unfortunately, that was his in the worst possible time in the playoffs. It happens. Didn't Devontae Smith drop a ball that hit him in the hands too? That's what I thought. Don't get it twisted, man. Don't get it twisted. I always say this. If you somebody suggested this one time and I was like, wow, it was such a difference. Such a difference. Watch a game. Go to NFL.com and watch one of the replays of the game, but turn the sound off and just watch it and see what you feel about certain parts of the game, certain plays without the sound on, without the broadcast, and without the production behind it. Oh snap! Hold on. N'Kobe Dean is on NFL Network right now. I'm a fan of N'Kobe. I need to be efforting to get him on the show too. Yeah. Watch a game with no sound, and then watch a game with sound. Like watch a game with no sound, and take notes. Mark down watch a quarter, and then mark down the plays that you like. A good play in a series or something that catches your eye, and then go back and watch that same game and watch your notes, but watch how they talk about it, and see if you get the same crescendos and falls as they give you on the broadcast. It's different. It's different. Uncle Rusty says, I'm an Eagle. Saw my first game with Randall at the vet. Letting Stout go was wrong. Yes, it was. If they let AJ go, that'll be crazy too. Yeah, man. Randall was my quarterback. I played in the vet. That turf sucked. Let me say this though. Let's be clear. I want to keep it 100. The Eagles did not let Stout go. Stout walked. Stout walked. The Eagles did not fire him. They wanted him back. Stout walked. So they didn't let him go. It's been all over the radio. They wanted him to come back. They wanted him to be the offensive line coach. But he wanted to be the coordinator. But you got a new regime coming in. And if you want this new wonder kid coming in, you got to let him do his thing his own way. You got to let him shop for the groceries if you want him to cook. That's fair. It's only fair. So he wasn't willing to be just the offensive line coach. And some of that has something to do with however it went down during the season when he got demoted or whatever the situation was. So I understand what you're saying, but technically he did not get fired. He walked away. Everybody says that, but AJ don't yap a lot, bro. That's what I'm saying. Are you from the Philly area, Marquez? Are you from the Philly area? AJ Brown don't say crap. And all of this stuff is coming from whatever it was he tweeted and the national narrative about AJ Brown. Okay, so you're from Philly, but remember when, and again, this is how much AJ Brown don't want to leave. Remember when they were saying the same exact thing the year before, and he came on the radio when he didn't have to and was like, "Yo, where y'all getting this from? I ain't never said I wanted to leave." And that's another thing. A lot of people do not have any understanding of what the dynamic is in a locker room. And I will say this again: if AJ Brown was that much of a problem in the locker room, he would not be a captain. Captains are voted. And if he was cancerous, if he was a malcontent, if he was a diva, if he was all of that stuff that everybody on the radio and some of these fans say that he would not be a captain. Everybody in that locker room loves AJ Brown. Don't get it twisted. It's only the media's perception of him. He was reading the book on the sideline, and I'm sick of his tweets and all that kind of stuff. And I will say this once again, just to bring the reminder. I will say this again. Marquez, if you knew with me, guys have been rocking with me, know I've said this before, but I will say it again. AJ Brown, when he was with Tennessee, and it doesn't just go away, but AJ Brown has a history with mental health issues, specifically suicide, things of that nature. Go down and just type in AJ Brown suicide conversation with the Tennessee Titans. You'll see the video, and you know exactly what I talked about. He talks about it very elegantly. He tells his story, and what it meant to him and what happened to him. And I bring that up simply to say this. People that go through that type of trauma and those type of things have to deal with their stress in a specific way. So if he has to deal with his stress by tweeting some cryptic stuff, so be it. I'm good with that. He ain't driving the car 150 down a residential street. He ain't putting his hands on nobody. He ain't choking his chef. He ain't cussing nobody out. Even with that outburst with him and Nick Sirianni. That was Nick's fault, in my opinion. He's not a diva. He ain't showing up the quarterback. He ain't doing none of that. The only thing he's done is said what it was. Back when we won that game against Carolina, and we had 103 yards passing, and we barely won that game. And he said, we got to get the passing game together. And then everybody co-signed what he said 2 weeks later. That's what started this whole thing. He didn't have to say anything. Well, he got the C on his chest. Because if you got the C on your chest and you don't say nothing, they're going to rip you about that too. So that's all I'm saying about A.J. Brown. That's why everybody get down on A.J. Brown. He talked too much. What did he say? What has A.J. Brown ever said about the passing game needs to be better? And he was right. He was right. You know why he was right? Because Kevin Patullo just got fired. So that's what I'm going to say about A.J. Brown. Eagles are not as good a team if A.J. Brown is not on it. I'll stand on that. What faults you think Stout had for them to let him go? Don't give the no, I just think think about it like this. Okay? Think about what you do on your job. Whatever it is that you do on your job. You are good at it. You are proficient at it. You do a good job. You get your numbers. You get it done in a timely fashion. Whatever it is that you do on your job, you are proficient at it. And somebody comes in and they like what you do, but they want you to do it a different way. They got ideas of how they can make it better. But you know, the way that you do it works the best for you. And you are getting optimal results. But that person, they really want you to try it a different way. Just because that's the way they want to do it. And you do. And it doesn't work. Whose fault is it? Is it their fault for trying to get you to try something new? Is it your fault for not sticking to your guns? But you catching hell because now your numbers aren't the same. And you're not doing it the way you used to do it. You're trying to play soldier, and you're doing what they're asking of you to your detriment. Because now it looks like you're not doing holding up your end of the bargain. You're not paying your half of the rent. And now they're looking at you like, come on, you need to pick up the slack. And what you was like is, I was doing it the right way before, and we ain't had no problems. That's what I think happened with Stoutland, in my opinion. I don't know for certain, but that's what I think. I think they was catching so much heat because the offense wasn't working. We wasn't running the ball well, and they decided they had some other ideas of what they wanted to do. And Stoutland probably said, I don't think that's the best way to do it. And Nick Sirianni said, I'm the head coach. I'm going to do it this way. We're going to give it a shot. Because what you're doing, and they're not wrong, what we're doing with you is not working. So I got to try something. So that was Nick Sirianni being a head coach. Unfortunately, it didn't work. Now, did it not work because what they were trying to do wasn't working, or does it go back to everybody being hurt? I think it's a little bit of both. That's what I think happened with Stoutland. And I believe in those conversations, if you've ever seen a situation where somebody's doing it their way, even though you try to tell them the right way to do it, but they still doing it their way, and you just sitting there like, you bobbing, your leg is twitching, and you just sitting there like, I don't know. Ooh, I hate it. I told them the right way to do it. They still want to do it this way because that's what they got to do. And you see what I'm saying? So Stoutland would have been like, all right, deuces, I'm out. If that's how you want to do it, fine. But you're going to do it without me. And he walked. Now, what will be interesting is if he still stays in Philly and still decides to be a part of the Eagles organization. I think give him about a month or so after the draft, and let's see how he feels. If he wants to come back to a team, because he got the open invitation. They didn't want him to leave. He walked. So the team wanted AJ to speak out about what? About the passing game? That's what you're supposed to do as a captain. That's what you're supposed to do as a captain. You're supposed to have the conversations that nobody else want to have, because you take the heat for them, but you give them the praise. That's what happens when you be a captain. You the man out in front. You the face. So I don't know. Again, what did he do? What did he do? And I'm say this, and I want to say this. I want to use it as a comparison. When you look at Justin Jefferson, you look at Keon Coleman, when you look at DK Metcalf, and others, and you look at some of the diva behavior. Now, mind you, we in Philadelphia, so we saw the ultimate diva in T.O. Come on now. Let us not forget. But when you see some of the diva behavior and then you look at what A.J. Brown did, what exactly did he do that was so bad? That's what I want to know. And if it all comes down to a tweet or reading a book on the sideline or something like that, I'm like, miss me with that, bro. Miss me with that. Because you got to do with a case. Jefferson got a case. Luckily, they ain't going to hit it until after the Super Bowl. Well, he ain't playing it. Well, yeah, he is playing in it. But he about to catch a case. Or he'll probably settle out of court for a bunch of cash. He should have just paid the chef. I don't know what the situation is, but he's in that situation. Keon Coleman, they reckon him under the coals, missing practice and all that kind of stuff. Some of it's his fault, some of it ain't. DK Metcalf punches the guy in the stands, he misses 2 games. So when we talking about bad behavior, how bad was it? I don't know. I just think people forget what diva behavior actually is. I never believe that for a minute. Jalen Hurts is a coach's son. He knows how to be coached. If you guys remember, Nick Sirianni's first year, remember Jalen told him, like, hey, you can't coach me hard. Remember when he told him that? Remember when Sirianni was acting a fool? And Jalen Hurts had to put his hand down because he looked like he was about to flick somebody off or something like that. Jalen looked at him like, you don't do that. Remember that? Yeah, Hurts is fine, man. Hurts is fine. So, reading a book, it is what it is, Chris. That ain't no big deal to me. Only thing I can say about that is I've been on the locker room, or I've been on the sideline before, and if you heard some of the conversations that go on the sidelines, people looking at chicks in the stands, talking about going to the clubs later on that night, especially when you sitting on that bench, maybe it's a long defensive series or whatever. It don't bother me whatsoever that he reading the book. It ain't no different than if you studying the tablet. Some people that got the tablet and the tablet is staring at them. So, oh, there we go. That's what I'm looking for. Come on down. You know, you have one of them itches in your back and you can't reach it. That's what I got right now. So, listen, man, you gotta, like I said, man, you gotta take the good with the bad. You gotta take the good with the bad. And right now, the problem is that us as fans, um, we buy into the hype too easily, especially if it aligns what our perspective is. If you don't like AJ Brown tweeting and the narrative is he's a malcontent, he's a diva, blah, 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 you're going to run with that narrative because that aligns with what your perspective is. If I'm looking at it, me as an ex-player, if I'm looking at it and I was like, that kind of shit happens on the sideline all the time. Like, why y'all getting mad at this now? Why is that such a big deal now? That happens. My perspective is different, but it doesn't align with what the narrative is that they're running with in the media and the social media. So I look like the pariah. Because the majority say, AJ Brown he sucks and nah. What's up, Art? So it's yeah, people make an issue with everything we do. You're right. They will. They make an issue with everything we do. Case in point. Case in point. Is it case in point or is it point in case? I always thought it was case in point. In any case, look at the freaking tush push. All of that bullshit that they started about that damn play, and everybody was using it in the playoffs. The teams that voted against it used it more than we did. Get out of here. It was always us. They didn't want us to use it. I ain't seen one time that the Buffalo Bills got called off sides. None of that. It was always us. So they always want to make an issue with everything we do. Schoolboy, you 100%, man. 100%. But people want to forget what it takes to get here. And in spite of all of that, the subpar run block, the bad offensive coordinating, AJ Brown being a diva, I'll give you that. Let's say he was a diva. Let's say all of that, we still made it to the playoffs. Our Super Bowl window is still open. We still got the baddest running back in the league. We still got two of the best wide receivers in the league. We still got one of the best quarterbacks in the league. Still got one of the best tight ends in the league when he's on the field. Still got one of the best offensive tackles. No, pause. We have the best offensive tackle in the league in Lane Johnson when he's on the field. So our window is still open, in my opinion. Now, if you take AJ Brown away from this, just like I said earlier, that you take AJ Brown off the field, everybody focuses on Devontae. And what that means is, who's your number two? If Devontae becomes number one, who's your number two? And can your number two get open? I know AJ Brown can get open. I know Devontae Smith can get open. So it makes defenses choose who's your game plan. You take AJ Brown off that. Who are you replacing him with? And whoever that, I said this earlier in this stream, whoever you replace him with, are they considered a game plan? Are teams going to take notice of that player? If they don't, our offense is at its detriment. That's what you got to look out for. So we going to see what we going to see. It's gonna play itself out one way or the other. The dude that we just hired to replace Stoutland, ain't no way he's gonna be as good as Stoutland. That does not mean he's not good. That does not mean he's not good. But we gonna see. We gonna see. But all right, man. I've been rocking for about an hour and a half, man. Hopefully we don't get no more snow this weekend. Olympics started. Watched a bunch of curling today. I'm into curling now. So for those of you, thank you for the compliments you gave me for the for my intro to the T.I. new song. That T.I. song is fire. I'm sorry. That T.I.P. song is fire. Let them know. So I made a new intro with that. I can't play it on the stream because if I do, they'll copyright it. And I'll have to take it out anyway. So I don't even feel like dealing with that. If you want to see it, it's on my page. It's non-monetized, so I can show it and check it out and just leave your comments in it. It's on my Twitter page. It's on my Instagram, all of that type of stuff. So I was proud of it. But I'm still working on what is going to be my real intro for this year. So working on that. And that should be ready by the time the Eagles are not reigning Super Bowl champions anymore. So it should be ready by next week. So we'll see. Jacob Media out here saying this new OC will expose Jalen. I hate our media. They die. Who was saying that? Sills? Dan Silio? Everybody, you got so many people that are flip-flopping, man. And at the end of the day, it's like, we don't know. You don't know what you're going to get. And let's say it does. Let's say Jalen Hurts gets exposed, right? Let's play that all the way out. Jalen Hurts gets exposed. He can't be involved with intricate offenses and all of that kind of stuff. Let's say for whatever reason it turns out to be true. He still got a chip. He still got a chip. Like, I don't understand when that stopped becoming the mission. And that's why I say all the time, all of these golden arm quarterbacks that y'all like, 6'4", 6'5", throw the ball 80 yards in the air, threw for 4,800 yards, 30 touchdowns, 16 picks, all of them stats, no chips. That's why I don't fall into the lists. I don't list the top fives. I don't care about the top 5 listed athletes that ESPN came out with, because the only reason they come out with that nonsense is because they know it's going to get a lot of clickbait. Everybody going to want to tell you wrong. Everybody. That's why I don't pay attention to it. It doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is what happens when you step on that field on a Sunday afternoon. That's the only thing that matters. Matthew Stafford couldn't beat us, but he's at the top of that list. He's an elite. He couldn't beat us. Concentrating on the wrong thing, man. But it's all good. It's all good. It's going to play itself out one way or the other. And we're going to find out. If you a Jalen Hurts hater and you think he going to get exposed with an intricate offense, you get your wish. Then that's one step closer to the Eagles getting rid of him and we moving on to the next one. Oh, and by the way, whoever we move on to, ain't no guarantee he going to be good either. I think people tend to forget that. We got a bird in the hand, man. We got a bird in the hand that's done been to 2 Super Bowls. 2. I know I know where I came from. I played in the 90s, y'all. I played for Richie Kotite. Look it up. We wasn't winning much of anything. We went 4-0. Randall tears his knee, and we end up 8-8 on the season. I played with the Eagles in the lean years. Back in the day when the Cowboys fans used to roast us mercilessly. Rightfully so. They used to roast us mercilessly. Cowboys fans giving us ring pops. Remember that candy, the ring pops? Said it's the only thing, this is the closest you're going to get to a real ring. Oh, it was brutal. It was brutal. And you couldn't say nothing to them because them Cowboy squads was the truth. Emmett, Irvin, Aikman, them was some bad boys. And they was whooping ass all up the NFC East. And you couldn't say nothing to them because they were that good. And now we got our turn. And I don't forget. I remember all of the jokes that we had to take. I remember all of that stuff they used to give us. No rings, all of that nonsense that they used to give us. So all of these people, and they got all of these answers on what the Eagles should do. Like sometimes I'm like, yo, y'all need to pump the brakes a little bit because y'all don't remember the lean years. Y'all wasn't around back then. But I do. So be thankful. I was lucky enough to be on one of the I was there the year that Jeffrey Lurie bought the team. So I at least got a small piece of what he wanted to do. And to be able to be a part of what it was back when I was still playing at the vet, playing on that lousy turf, to see what it has turned into 2017, 2022, 2024. I'm appreciative and I do not take it for granted at all. People think, let's just get rid of AJ Brown. You think it's easy to replace an AJ Brown? I don't give a damn what you think about him. You think it's easy to replace that? Yeah, no. We'll be fine. It's Howie season right now. Howie already getting ready for the draft. We got a new coach in there that's supposed to be the next young thing, the next pretty young thing in coaching. Hopefully he'll stay here for a while. If not, it is what it is. We've been through this before. Yeah, Chris, AJ Browns don't go on trees, bro. We need to get rid of AJ Brown and replace him with who? I will entertain any conversation about moving AJ Brown if you can give me somebody to replace him with. If you can't think of anybody or you talking about a draft pick, I'm not entertaining that conversation. Because how many times does a first round draft pick need 3, 4, 5 years to get started? Or they are a bust. That happens way more time than somebody ends up living up to his potential, especially at that position. So whatever they decide to do, if they get rid of him, if they don't, it doesn't matter. I trust that Howie Roseman is going to make the right decision for the Philadelphia Eagles. Howsoever, whoever you bring in, they better be balling because those are some mighty big shoes to fill. But we're going to find out. We are going to find out. Like I said before, we're going to find out. I just hope we don't F around and find out. All right, man. I'm going to get up on out of here, man. I done talked enough. We at 145, man. So, but we'll see. We'll see. Let's get through this weekend, see who's going to be Super Bowl champions, and we'll talk on the other side, man. Y'all have a good weekend. Enjoy the game. I don't think I'm gonna. I don't think I'm gonna stream it. I don't think I'm gonna stream it. I'm gonna just watch it It'll be some type of mixture of Super Bowl, chicken wings, and Arc Raiders. I've been playing Arc Raiders. If anybody playing Arc Raiders, holler at me. And I will be playing Marathon when it launches too. I haven't gamed in a long time, but these two games, my grandson wanted me to play Arc. I'm interested in Marathon because I was a big Destiny player. And me being a graphic designer and into digital design and all that kind of stuff, Marathon looks phenomenal. I've never seen a game look like this. So that appeals to me. So, um, so yeah. What game? Arc Raiders. It's the game that what's his name? What's old boy's name? The basketball player from playing for the Wizards, Agent Zero. Dang, what's his name? What's his name? I'm not blanking on his name because I be forgetting everything right now. Gilbert Arenas. Gilbert Arenas plays Arc Raiders. Yep. But anyways, it's an extraction shooter. Um, so yeah, it's my first time playing something like this. Even though I played Destiny, Destiny was not an extraction shooter. Neither was Halo. Halo was the game that got me into shooters. I was not a fan of shooters because I wasn't like good at it. But when I played Halo, Halo was phenomenal. So yeah, so I bought Arc Raiders so I could play with my grandson. And now they killing matriarchs and all that kind of stuff. And I played it. I play it a little bit more, but when Marathon comes out, I'm definitely gonna be playing Marathon. So yes, Gilbert Arenas. But in any case, all right, I'm gonna get up out of here, man. I hope y'all had a good night. I hope y'all have a good weekend. Hopefully y'all don't get hit by no snow or no more cold. By the way, I did get my electric power shovel in. And now I'm contemplating if I want to send it back to Amazon because that's not the one I wanted. The one I wanted was out of stock because everybody was getting snow. And then I got it and I ain't got no snow to test it out. But the one that I wanted is now available and it's almost $40 cheaper than the one I bought. So I got 30 days to return it. So I'm going to keep it about another week and a half to see if we get any more snow so I can really test it out. If not, I might send it back and get the one I want and save about 30, 40 bucks. So, all right. In any case, I'm going to get up out of here. I appreciate y'all. Enjoy the weekend. Enjoy the Super Bowl. And I will see y'all next week. All right. Peace. And as usual, go Birds.